Okay, welcome back. So this is the third in a set of 3 videos to get you started with a game called Is That the Best You Can Do? It's a financial education, very fun negotiating game, whether or not you want to learn anything about economics. So it's a very high quality game, it's great stuff. So the first video showed how easy it is to set up and get going. The second video showed a demonstration of how the demand and supply cards work, which is the heart of the game. So there's just a few things to tidy up. So one is that there are these coins that I didn't mention previously. They don't play a huge role, but they're kind of fun. The idea is that the game is designed for 4 to 8 players, and everyone starts off with 0 currency, but they build currency each time they have a negotiation. And it's fun to keep track who has the highest total at any given time. Typically, you play until someone gets 3,000 units, cryptocurrency units. And so whoever has the most will have the gold one. There's a silver one, and then there's a bronze one. So at the end of each round, it's fun to keep track of who has the most money, and then that'll help steer your tactics, because you want to make sure that you come in first, and also maybe you make sure whoever's in first gets knocked down. So that's what these coins are. The other thing we didn't discuss is the last deck, and this is, I guess we want to call it more advanced. So after you could just play with these two and have a lot of fun. But at some point you want to have a little more variety, and you might want to learn a little bit more about different types of economics as well. So I expect that free market kids will come out with even more free market cards, and I believe they have lesson plans and other things in the works as well. So the first step into learning even more about economics in a fun way is to have these market cards. So in the last videos, we reinforced the idea that you always have 7 cards in your hand. So after you have a negotiation, you end up giving up some of your cards, you would draw another one. You have the option, instead of drawing more supply and demand cards, you can go ahead and pick up a market card. And that adds a lot of fun, because they do different things. So there's kind of 2 different types. There's 9 total variations. There's 6 of them you have to play right away. So it's an immediate use. And 3 of them you can use, basically, there's a one-time event, but you can use it whenever you want. In the middle of a negotiation, in the middle of someone else's negotiation, whenever you want to goof up a change the dynamics of play, you can do that. So we can just walk through these real quick. So we'll start off over here. So the easiest ones are the cyber bear market and cyber bull market, bear and bull. So essentially, everyone either gains or loses a certain amount of currency. The next two, the next one, or I guess set here, kind of target specific types of products or markets. But I'll read one aloud here. You can stay focused here. So for the bureaucracy, black hole regulations make alternate identities more costly, for instance. And anyone who has an alternate identity card has to forfeit it. So presumably they pick up another card then, but they lose. That changes what they have in their deck. Bankruptcy. This targets different types of markets. In this case, for instance, Robo Dog Makers goes bankrupt, and all players have to forfeit any Robo Dog cards they have. So that's just an example. Then you'd have to get some different cards. There could be taxes as well. Who does not like taxes? In this case, you get to keep your cards, but there's taxes on them. So if you were to have, in this case, it's a flying car, you have to just pay. You lose some money. That happens. There's some news events. These are again kind of quirky. Sometimes things happen in the news, and then it changes. In this case, changes what you want to do with your business. In this case, lawmakers pass a legislation banning teleporting in school. Parents they delay buying their teleporters, and so the demand goes down. Therefore, any players who have a teleporter cards, they have to forfeit them. That happens. Or it could be a good thing. This is a breakthrough discovery. Maybe you got a nice patent or something. Here's an example. There's a new patent technology for robo-dogs that you get. So you add 100 units of currency
each time you sell Robo Dogs for the rest of the game. So this is cool. So this is something you would play just for yourself, and you get a bonus for selling Robo Dogs. And now you have an incentive to track them down. So those are immediate use. And then there's these other ones that you get to play one time, but whenever you feel like it. So we have things like bartering, which is kind of cool. So you would trade supply and demand cards with another player. So trading is good. Free market is an interesting one. Here, all players can sell or buy at an agreed upon price. No limits on quantity either. What that really means is you could ignore the prices on the cards, and you could just try to strike up a deal with the person next to you. So maybe your card in your hand says you need to sell for less than 300 units. Well, you can ignore that and just go crazy, see what happens. So the last one is arbitrage, which is kind of a very complex concept. It seems really intimidating, but basically it allows you to buy and sell items to yourself. So maybe you're trying to sell and buy a Robodog, and you have both of those items in your deck. You can basically cash in money on a deal on that. So again, these are just kind of, it's a very simple way to add a lot of nice variation to the game. You don't have to use them. If you do, I suggest doing it like the second or third phase and after you're already used to the negotiations, the basic negotiations.